In this video, I will show how we can group by accounts when we don't have a segmentation based on account. So for example, we've got account number 1 with its details, account number 2 with its details, and account number 3 with its details. The reason why we can't come straight out of the gate and do a crosstab is because when we do a crosstab, okay, we want the categories to be the headers, and we want the values to be the columns. Well, if we click first, that's just going to give us account number 1. And if we click concatenate, this will give us just one line for 1, 2, and 3. But in instances like notes, does ZZZ go to 1 or 2? Does PPP go to 2 or 3? We don't know. So before we do that, we need to build a segmentation based off of this data to separate accounts 1, 2, and 3. So what we can do is go to the Preparation tab and do a multi-row formula. And we will do count to account. And this is going to be an integer field. And what we want to say is we want to say if the active row category is equal to account, then we just want a 1 back. Else, if it's not account, we want to do whatever the previous row's count to account is plus 1. End if. When we run this again, we can now see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first account, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the second account, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third account. Okay, so now that we have that, now we want to build our segmentation that we're actually going to use in the end product. We want to flag all of these with account number 1, all of these with account number 2, and so on. So we'll do another multi-row tool. In this one, we will say account ID, and we can say it's going to be a similar one to this formula, so I'm going to copy paste that. But we want to say if the category is equal to account, then instead of returning 1, we want whatever the account ID of the previous row was plus 1. And if it's not account, then we want to just return whatever the previous ID was. And when we run this, we can now see the first account is all labeled with 1, the second account is all labeled with 2, and the third account all labeled with 3. Now that we have the segmentation, we can now do our CrossTab tool. And here is where we can say we want the categories to be the column headers. We want the values to be the new values in the new columns. We want to take the first, and we want to group by account ID. So when we run this, we'll now see that for account number 1, we have all these details but are missing the address. Account number 2, we have all these details but are missing the notes. And account number 3, we have all these details. And this is exactly what we had before. And that is how you can group data based off of a certain value, even if you don't have segmentation right out the gate.